morning, and welcome to Bears Talk Today, where we talk everything about Bears football. My name is Justin Evans, and this is my co-host, Michael D. Francis. Michael D.
It's okay. The Bears got me messed up too, Justin. I feel you on that one, man.
Not even 10 seconds in, and I can't even get a proper intro. Well, obviously, this game was disappointing in the least, and it was not what we expected. And we're going to talk all things about the loss, players, and just how do we
coaches.
Get better. Yeah. That's going to get clipped. Yep. And everything else. So, obviously, let's get into it, shall we? Bears lost 21-16. How ugly, Mike, was this game for both teams? I mean, it's just a get into it.
It was some of the sloppiest football I've ever seen in my life. I mean, you had a combined 5 turnovers. Anthony Richardson was throwing the ball all over the yard. He was throwing it everywhere but his receiver's hands. Bears' offensive line was really bad. It was just sloppy football. It was the definition of sloppy. There was bad red zone play. I mean, there was, again, inaccuracies from both quarterbacks. So it was a really, really ugly football game. And, you know, you're going to have games like this, and you're going to play teams that play like this. You really hope that you can win the ugly ones, because sometimes even an ugly win, you know, you still feel good at the end of the day. But man, they looked uglier than the Colts on this day, which was a sad sight to see. You know, we went up against the worst rushing defense in the NFL and couldn't do anything. You know, Caleb, for all intents and purposes, had the best day of his career, but still threw 2 interceptions, got strip sacked. It was ugly. It was ugly. There's really no other way to put it. It was a very bad day.
Yeah, no, it was a very bad day, as Stephen A. Smith would say. And honestly, you know, it was disappointing. I thought it was one of those games that we could win. Like, hey, you know, the Colts were 0-2. You know, they already got smacked around by the Packers, and then to just come in the game and just, I mean, for the first 2 quarters of this game, we didn't score at all.
Almost scored on that Hail Mary, which
was
kind of nuts.
The 1 yard with time expired, like that was like a Madden play. But I agree with you. I think Caleb had, you know, he performed even better, right? 33-52, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, quarterback rating of 35.6, which that'll happen when your receivers aren't catching or you overthrow the ball. But I just felt like we made a lot of mistakes. And just like I said in the first episode, this should have been a game that we obviously should have won, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, talking about offensive struggles, I looked this up yesterday. Before the Colts game, we only had 1 offensive touchdown in 11 NFL quarters. I mean, that's bad. That's bad, right? Bad. And obviously, you know, as Bears fans, we can point the fingers to maybe one person or a lot of people, but the biggest problem is that we have to improve our offense some way or somehow. But, Mike, talk about the inability to stop the run game. I mean, Anthony Richardson didn't even have a touchdown, and they still won the game without him.
Yeah, no, you mentioned it in the last week's episode about Jonathan Taylor. He torched us, you know, 23 carries, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a great day. The other thing that I thought was very interesting about the Bears is statistically they won a lot of categories. They had more yards, 395 to 306. They had more first downs. They almost doubled the first downs. They had 26 first downs in comparison to their 15. We possessed the ball for over 35 minutes in this game, and we still lost. I mean, it was just ugly. Jonathan Taylor, like I said, had a really, really good day. Anthony Richardson did not, which, again, should have allowed the Bears a chance to win this game. He was incredibly inaccurate. He absolutely gifted the Bears 2 interceptions on what were cartoonish level throws, to be completely honest with you. But you're right, the Colts run game, they did their job. They came to play. The Bears, you know, that was the big contrast in this game, was the running games between the teams. Our leading rusher had 30 yards. Their leading rusher had 110 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So, you know, the Bears' rushing defense needs to step up. I also understand, though, you know, you gave the Colts 3 extra possessions with the turnovers. Yeah. The defense, they can't do everything. Only 21 points, realistically, is not a bad day at the office. But man, I mean, you know, Jonathan Taylor, when he had that 29-yard touchdown run, you know, in the third quarter, it felt like that was the game. It really did. And, you know, the Bears made it interesting towards the end. You know, they got down the field and scored that touchdown at the end of the game. But it really did feel like that 29-yard touchdown run ended the game, and that the Bears offensively weren't going to be able to do enough to come back. And it's sad, and it really is sad, because I thought there were good things that happened in this game. But again, we just keep shooting ourselves in the foot. We have certain things that just don't go our way. Shane Waldron is still our offense coordinator, and when that's the case,
unfortunately,
could we get into Shane Waldron? I feel like this is going to be a weekly rant at this point.
I'll pass the ball to you, man. Get
Shane Waldron, just his inability to protect Caleb schematically, his inability to be creative on offense in the red zone. Third downs, the Bears were not very good either. So, when you have a sequence at the goal line, he went run up the middle to our third string running back, run up the middle again, and then he ran a speed option.
Oh my God.
It's like we're playing at Army or something. Like what is this? What are we? Like, we're not running the triple option. Like, this isn't what we do. That sequence of play calling lost the Bears essentially 7 points.
Yeah.
We lost by 5.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? And I know, you can't do it perfectly, whatever. That's not always how it lines up. But when you have a quarterback like Caleb Williams, who is a great athlete, he's very creative, in and out of the pocket. You have good receivers. Cole Kmet was actually involved in this game, which was great.
Yeah.
Why didn't you throw the ball even once? I don't get it. I don't get it. Let Caleb Williams at least send him out on a naked boot or something and let him, scramble with his legs and make a play. Run up the middle, and and your offensive line was getting no push.
No.
I mean, it was comical. I don't know if you saw the screenshot, Justin. On the speed option, all 4 of our offensive linemen were on the ground like that.
Yeah.
And DeAndre Swift had no shot on that play.
No.
So it was an embarrassing game plan from Shane Waldron. It was embarrassing in the big moments. It was just embarrassing all around. And that's the thing that we talk about, where Caleb is only going to be as good as his supporting cast lets him be. Well, part of his supporting cast is Shane Waldron. And Shane Waldron right now is, I think, holding him back from being truly great. Obviously, he needs to clean up some of the turnovers. The one interception was bad.
Yeah.
I thought the second interception was kind of fluky, bounced off of Rome's chest.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then the strip sack, I don't think was his fault. But you saw a lot of the signs of Caleb Williams. But the problem is the offense isn't complete right now.
No.
We have no running game. Absolutely zero, right? So we can't run the ball. And then, Caleb is still growing and he's still maturing as a quarterback. Thought he took big steps, but, right now he's got no protection. So it's just a huge struggle in offense, and it just seems like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and it's really unfortunate at this point.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Mike. I just, I think there was something that was I was reading as I was doing my research for the show, that Caleb didn't even know he threw 52 passes. Like, he was like, I threw 52 passes. He was shocked.
Yeah.
And obviously with this performance, Caleb also said, I'm going to do anything to help us win, right?
Yeah.
But it should not take that much unless it was like an overtime game and it was just, he was just putting on a show. But this is the Indianapolis Colts. They don't need that much to win against them. It's not like Peyton Manning's back in there playing.
Right. This is in 2004.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I agree with you. DeAndre Swift, golly, 13 carries, 20 yards, an average of 1.5 yards per rush. That is terrible. Obviously, the O-line is at fault for that. They need better pass blocking to let him, let Swift be able to run through. But definitely running it up the middle 20,000 times doesn't help either.
No. Our interior offensive line right now is terrible. Our center's bad. Tevin Jenkins is okay. But yesterday, they benched Nate Davis, who we were critical of last week. They benched Nate Davis for Matt Pryor. He wasn't much better. The strength of this offensive line, I would say, is the tackles. Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright. They have the most potential to be good. But even they're getting blown off the ball and getting a free shot at Caleb. Right? They're giving up those free shots. So I don't know, man. And I don't want to say that I'm upset that Caleb Williams got 52 passes, but there's a reason, that a lot of times when you throw 52 passes, you don't win the game. I think if you throw 52 passes, you're either having a great day or you're having a bad day.
Yeah.
Because you're either absolutely killing them or you're, struggling to come from behind and you're just throwing the entire second half, which is what basically the Bears did. It's just abysmal right now. The offense has no identity. And again, when your offense relies on a rookie quarterback in their third game throwing more than 50 times, you set yourself up for failure.
You do.
It's just more hits on Caleb. It's more opportunities for stoppages of the clock, for more turnovers. Like I don't want Caleb throwing 52 times every game. Although I do like that he threw for 363 yards. It helps the passing yards a little bit, and those 2 touchdowns were nice as well.
Yeah.
But no, I don't want that to continue. I want some semblance of a running game. And again, it's just so sad because we're going up against a Colts rushing defense without DeForest Buckner.
Yes.
They had been getting slashed on the run the last two games. Again, Joe Mixon looked like Barry Sanders, and then Josh Jacobs looked like Jim Brown or Emmitt Smith or something.
Yeah.
It was like insane. And we're like, oh my gosh, we actually have a chance to run, and we didn't have anything going on the ground.
Yeah.
So it was incredibly disappointing.
No, it was. And one more thing that I researched about Williams, he broke the Bears' single game passing yardage record, which is
Take that, Justin Fields.
Yeah, take that.
Take that, Justin Fields.
And has thrown in more yards than Justin Fields ever has in a game. So I mean, yes, there are some benefits to this somewhat abysmal performance, right? I mean, Williams had a 44-yarder to DJ Moore in the second quarter. Obviously, if maybe if the gravity was just a little bit fair,
right.
he could have landed into.
Which that was a great throw.
That was a great throw. Yeah.
I mean, I know Hail Marys are a little bit fluky because of the bounce and whatever, but he put it in a position where one of his guys could make a play on there.
Right.
Obviously, and he obviously enforced the bounce. Like he wanted the ball to bounce that way going into. He knew that was going to happen. But
yeah.
I think the main bright spot, though, speaking of receivers, was Rome Odunze.
Yes.
Rome Odunze finally was a focal point of this offense. He had 6 receptions, 112 yards, and a touchdown. I thought it was cool that they were kind of talking on the broadcast about who was going to get that first.
Yeah.
That first football. It was Rome's first touchdown and Caleb's first touchdown.
Yeah.
I heard the ball went to Rome, so shout out Rome for a great memory. But no, he was involved in this passing game a lot, which I'd love to see. They actually made, I think, a definitive effort to scheme him open, to get the ball to him. Caleb was looking his way. He actually could have had even more yards. They couldn't connect on a couple of those deep passes, which I think Caleb he's getting a little jittery. He just needs the timing needs to be a little bit better. But he's going to hit a couple of those later on in the year, and it's going to be very very fun to watch.
Sure.
But no, Rome Odunze was great. I also thought another bright spot was Cole Kmet.
Yes.
Cole Kmet was finally involved in this offense as well. He caught a touchdown as well on the fourth down. So. The Bears getting their best playmakers involved is a very good thing. This is, in that regard, it's a positive step forward because the Bears do have good skill position players. Cole Kmet is a good tight end. Rome Odunze is a top 10 pick for a reason. Obviously, we know DJ Moore is good as well, and he had a decent day as well. But that was, if you're looking for a silver lining, that's it, right? Rome Odunze showed up and showed out. And on a day where, Marvin Harrison was great for the Cardinals, Malik Neighbors was great for the Giants, Rome Odunze was great for the Bears. And so it's nice to see that receiver trifecta of the rookies this year. But there's only so much that you can really look into silver linings, though. And as much as I want to gawk over their fantasy numbers, we got to talk about winning games.
Yes.
And right now the Bears, they don't have the formula to winning games.
No.
And it's quite sad to see. There's not a lot that needs to be fixed. There's a lot of things that the Bears need to address. But just getting into our questions for today, I have to ask you, Justin, what do you think, or who do you think was the biggest culprit for the loss yesterday?
I got 2 words for you. Ready for this?
Yep.
Shane Waldron.
There you go.
And honestly, when we had our last show, I was like, yeah, there were some questionable plays, but I think from fully watching it from beginning to end of yesterday's game, oh God, what are we doing? I mean, it's just I don't understand how you could run the same play over and over again and not think that defenses will read on it, right? I mean, obviously, yes, we know that we have a rookie quarterback and he's still figuring things out, but that's no excuse. Like I said earlier, before our Colts game, we only had 1 offensive touchdown in 11 NFL quarters. And it's not like we played, yes, our first game was against Tennessee. Sure, first game jitters. But our second game, against Houston Texans, AFC contender. Third game we played was a non-AFC contender, and you would have thought we would have ran we would have ran all over them, right?
Yeah.
And I just feel like for me, we have potential to be better, but our play calling has to match that, right? And I mean, watching that terrible fourth down option, what read option or the
speed option?
Speed option. There we go.
Yeah.
I mean, I was literally watching at the screen like, what are we?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What are we doing? And it's just boneheaded plays like those, and I'm just like, so it's not the player's fault. It's the play calling.
Yeah, that play had no chance. You could have had Cam Newton and Walter Payton, and that play wouldn't have worked.
You could have had Tom. Yeah, same thing, right?
Yeah.
Put any quarterback. I mean, unless we're playing Madden NFL 25, there's no
on rookie mode.
On rookie mode, right? So it's I just didn't understand it. I mean, for me, if I'm GM Ryan Poles, I'm putting Shane Waldron on speed dial. I'm telling him to pack up his stuff.
Send him to the XFL. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Shane Waldron, get ready to learn XFL, buddy, because you are maybe high school football. I'll demote you even lower.
Yeah.
Because you're never gonna see this, but if you do, I hope you do. But I hope you do watch this, Shane Waldron.
I'm slamming you professionally, and I hope you see this.
No. Or I was thinking last night. I don't know if you ever watched WWE. Is it SmackDown?
SmackDown.
And they had the GM would always be like, "You're going one-on-one versus Undertaker." Well, I feel like Shane Waldron is going one-on-one with unemployment because why are you on this team, bro? You are trash.
Well, and I'll say this too, like part of the offensive coordinator's job or whoever runs the offense for your team, you want to come out with a good game script, right?
Yes.
We know a lot of times the first couple of drives, maybe even the first quarter, are scripted from the offensive play caller.
Correct.
That's why we see teams like the 49ers, the Packers, the Chiefs, that always look good in the first quarter because these plays are scripted and they're studied. We come out, we will look terrible in the first quarter. And that's the game script. Like that's before any of the adjustments based on what the defense is doing, based on, what we're doing, injuries, whatever.
Yeah.
Our game script is bad.
Yes.
Like we start off the game looking terrible, and that's what you have prepared all week to start the game as. So then you're already playing from a deficit. Your offensive line sucks. You can't run the ball. You're running the same boneheaded plays, time in and time out. It's disappointing. But I will actually counter with you, and I will say the biggest culprit for the loss yesterday was Matt Eberflus. Now, and I had an epiphany yesterday, and I want to run this by you because I think it's important to talk about. I'm sitting on my couch yesterday, and I'm watching the Bears game. And on my laptop, I have Red Zone, and I'm checking on what's going on throughout the league. And I see the Packers, led by Malik Willis, their backup quarterback, who they acquired, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Absolutely dominate the Titans, a team that we barely escaped. Okay. I'm watching the Vikings with Sam Darnold, who was considered one of the biggest busts of the last, 5-10 years. Throw for 4 touchdowns.
And rip
demolish the Houston Texans, who demolished us last week in Houston. Oh, I'm sorry. It was in Minnesota. I take that back. 34-7. Threw 4 touchdowns. Looked like Joe Montana. And then I'm watching the Detroit Lions with Jared Goff, who is a good quarterback, but he's limited, handle the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's something missing about the Bears that all these teams got. You know what it is? It's good coaching.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell, say what you want about Dan Campbell. He changed the culture in Detroit.
Oh, for sure. Okay?
Matt LaFleur is rocking with Malik Willis, who some people didn't even think could play the position a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
2 straight wins. Kevin O'Connell, like I said, has turned Sam Darnold from a bust into 80s Joe Montana. And that's what good coaching does. You take this group of players and you get them to their peak performance. Sam Darnold always had talent. He just could never put it together, right? Malik Willis is a good athlete and has a strong arm. Couldn't put it together. With good coaching, they've been able to put it together, and they've been able to be successful, and they've been able to win games. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, Matt Eberflus doesn't do that.
No.
He doesn't get the most out of his players.
No.
He doesn't scheme to their strengths. He doesn't coach them to be the best of their ability. And it's pretty clear that the Bears easily have the 4th best coach in their division. And I don't know about you, Justin, but I can't think of a lot of division winners or playoff teams that have the 4th best coach in their division.
Right.
And so the Bears, I think, are just extremely behind the 8 ball. And this goes back to the conversation of should the Bears have fired Matt Eberflus last offseason. Caleb Williams was coming in. We knew that they were going to have a lot of assets to rebuild this team personnel-wise. And I think it's clear that Matt Eberflus is not going to make it to next season. And then you're talking about, well, then Caleb Williams in year 2 already is on his second head coach and with his second offensive coordinator. And Why do we keep making this mistake?
I don't know. And this is a great cut. I'm going to skip questions here. We'll come back to the other one.
Yeah.
Who do we fire first midseason? Obviously, we're not – obviously, I mean, I've never seen in NFL history both the coach and OC get fired in midseason. But if you're the GM of the Chicago Bears, who are you releasing first?
I think it's a domino effect because, I would say you fire Waldron first just because the defense does look good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for whatever it's worth, Matt Eberflus, I think, has failed at a lot of aspects of coaching. But to be fair, his strength is defense, and the defense does look good.
It does.
So I think that's what gave him grace to make it into this season, and I think that grace would maybe extend a little bit beyond. But Shane Waldron, the offense looks putrid, and you have the number 1 overall pick at quarterback. You have good receivers, good tight end. He, I think, would be the first man on the chopping block, but don't mistake it. I think that Shane Waldron would be gone first, but I don't think that Matt Eberflus is making it to the end of the year. I take that back. I think he might make it to the end of the year, but I don't think he's making it to next year. Problem is, you got to think of like the McCaskies. I don't know if the Bears have ever fired a head coach mid-season. To my memory, that hasn't been the case. And they're kind of old school.
Yeah.
We know interim head coaches aren't necessarily always the best option. So I would let Eberflus ride out the year, but I think Waldron might be gone by Christmas. He might be gone by Thanksgiving at this point. We're rolling. We're getting into October in the next couple of weeks. He might not make Halloween at this rate. It is kind of sad. But I do want to ask you, and I'm gonna rephrase this a little bit.
Go ahead.
About our offensive line. And I know we talked last week, what do we do? I guess the better question maybe could be, how could we overcompensate for our offensive line? Because it's clear right now that our offensive line is bad.
Right.
It is clearly bad. First week, whatever. Second week, okay, they got destroyed. 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, that's.
They say if you do something 3 times in a row, it's a habit.
Yeah.
This offensive line has a habit of being really bad, allowing a lot of pressure on Caleb, not being able to open up lanes in the running game. So I guess my question for you, Justin, is do we just say, all right, well, we're just going to kind of give up the run? Do we just kind of throw Caleb Williams out there 50 times a game to throw the ball? Should we stay committed to the run? What do we do with this offensive line? What's the plan going forward?
Honestly, because I have it in my notes here, keep things short. I think when we were running short throws and doing kind of anything that's, I would say any run or passing play that's in between 5 and 10 yards, right?
Quick, I'm talking about quick game.
Quick game, yeah, there we go. Keeping it quick, right? The biggest, obviously, it's not very exciting for a young quarterback to just do easy passes. But when we were doing them, we were fine. We were I forgot the stat you had mentioned last week about close throws. But it was he was
getting the ball in 2.5 seconds.
Right. Yeah. It was a high completion rate of when he was doing that. Right.
Yeah.
So I think definitely that until we can figure out this offensive line, that's the best we can obviously do at this moment. I would also say as well, during practice, hey, this is your life depends on it.
Your life.
It does depend on it. Their careers do depend on them being able to block. All right. And if I'm well, I don't want to be Shane Waldron. That's a scary thought to think about. But if I was Shane Waldron and I was, watching film of my offensive linemen, we're pointing out every single one. Hey, at this play, you did bad. And I'm kind of wondering, what is he doing? You can't be soft. You have to have, the Dan Campbell mindset.
Yeah. Biting off kneecaps. Yeah.
Biting off kneecaps.
Yep.
Putting guys into the ground. Whatever you got to do, you got to do it. But that's kind of my short-term solution of what I would do to kind of compensate for our terrible offensive line.
Just rip into them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best that we can do in this moment, right? Obviously, I don't want Caleb to have to always feel like he has to get it out quickly every single time, right? You want your offensive line to give you maybe about a half a second more to be able to throw out the ball when you need it. But also at the same time, our offensive line can't hold well at all, right? So
yeah.
if we have to get the ball out quick and just, get those first and second downs. I mean, obviously our third down completion rate this season has been terrible, but when we do cross that threshold or when we do get to a brand new first down, it seems like it works when those short throws and passes work.
I saw a stat that was really crazy to me. The Bears' second down conversion rate to second down to first down is 8%, and I saw that the second worst in the NFL was the Panthers.
Oh God!
At 18%.
Oh gosh!
So we are 10% worse than the 2024 Carolina Panthers in an offensive category. That's cause for firing of everybody in the building on its own. The other thing to me that's so weird and so concerning, Ryan Poles was an offensive lineman.
Yeah,
he was an offensive lineman for the Bears. Like, he should understand the importance of the trenches. I just talked about Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell played tight end, but he's more of a blocking tight end.
He was.
For the Detroit Lions. He understands the importance of the trenches. The Lions' offensive line is tremendous.
Yeah.
They have consciously made an effort to put great offensive linemen on the Detroit Lions. Why haven't the Bears done that? Now, I understand Darnell Wright. Okay. You took him, 10th overall. Yeah. But what about the interior? What about the left tackle spot? I mean, Braxton Jones is a 4th, 5th round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting very, very lucky if you're rolling out a 5th round pick and he could be serviceable at left tackle. Right center. Honestly, first game of the year, I didn't even know who our center was. Right guard Matt Pryor. Who? It's been bad. The offensive line's been really terrible. But yeah.
Yeah, but let's stay on our offense. And Mike, I will ask you. Did our QB1 Caleb Williams have the best game of the season? Like, if they're obviously we have a lot of games left, but do you think this was his best game?
I do think it was his best game.
Okay.
I do think it was his best game. Listen, 64% completion rate, good, especially throwing 52 passes. Threw for a lot of yards. Yes, some of those were kind of stat paddy yards, like the Hail Mary to DJ Moore at the end of the half. But I thought by and large, Caleb is so phenomenal, and he's not getting enough credit for this. He is extending plays, and he's needing to. I mean, he's like a ballerina back there. He's like doing like 4 spins, and he's hezzying the D lineman and whatever. He is buying himself a lot of time to throw the ball. He needs to work a little bit on the deep accuracy because there are some plays that he's just missing down the field, and I don't think it's a problem going forward. I think again he's jittery. He's trying to get the ball quick. When you're getting pressured every play like he is, his internal clock is going so fast.
Yeah.
He's probably slipping in his mechanics a little bit. But I would like to see a little better deep accuracy. I would like to see the turnover, go away. But when you're throwing 52 times, you probably got to turn the ball over. That's one of the cons of throwing it that many times. On that one, the first interception he threw, he definitely got baited.
Yeah.
Second one, again, I thought it was a little fluky, but get rid of the turnovers, protect the ball a little bit more. And I think if he can start connecting on some of these magic plays. I mean, he had a play that was truly beautiful where he, rolled out to his left side, turned his body, flipped his hips, threw the ball, and it was a dart. I believe it was to Cole Kmet, if I'm not mistaken. It was to Cole Kmet.
Yes.
It was an absolute dart. So I was I've gotten more encouraged by Caleb as the season's gone on. I think he's improved each game, and that's what we want to see from a rookie quarterback. I'm not asking for a 4-touchdown performance. I'm not asking for you score 50 points a game. I just want to see continual improvement throughout the year. I thought he has exponentially increased each week, and so for that I'm happy to see. But obviously he's not where he's going to be just yet.
No, not
under the
all.
circumstances, how could he be?
Right, and just to add a short note on that, like, I agree, right? Like, we knew coming in, and I think that's like the overhype of media today is like you expect the rookie to be Patrick Mahomes day one, and he will not be. I mean, I can't think of many Hall of Fame quarterbacks that were good in the first 5 games.
Peyton Manning threw 26 interceptions his rookie year.
Right, exactly.
I mean, come on.
And nobody ever really talks about that because he's won Super Bowls. He's in the Hall of Fame, right? But like I said, in our first little preseason view of this first episode, it's going to take time, and I think we're seeing improvement, which makes me feel good because I know
he's what matters.
Yeah,
he's what matters. Eberflus and Waldron won't be here next year.
They won't.
Caleb was going to be here for a long time.
Yeah,
and I want to see him succeed. He's the most important
piece.
He's the most important piece of the future.
Yeah,
and so when he improves, I think that makes me feel more positive about the future of this team.
Yeah.
So I agree with you there.
Mm-hmm.
I think our last question, and this is it's gonna get some people riled up, Justin. I think we'll both take a swing at this one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you think this Bears team or this Bears offense would be better if Justin Fields was the quarterback these last 3 weeks?
No. And here's why. I think for the first season of Fields, maybe the first like 2 seasons, I was for him. I was like, yeah, this is our guy, yada yada yada. But no. The only reason why I say no is because I feel like for me, Caleb has a stronger arm than Justin Fields. I think for him, he did way too much or at least for the years that he was with the Bears. I want my quarterbacks to be passers. I mean, you can be a Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson had games where he was just a beast, just throwing darts, getting decent completion rates. And I just felt like Justin Fields just wasn't really doing that at all, right? No. I mean, I don't mind a mobile quarterback, but if you're rushing it more than you're throwing it, that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
And I love mobile quarterbacks. Like I love the Michael Vicks and the Lamar Jacksons of the world. But when it's time to stay in your pocket and throw and get yardage, that's what he's not doing. And everyone wants to say, well, Justin Fields 3-0 in the Steelers. Well, first off, the Steelers' defense has carried him, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the truth. And I think when you're you mentioned it about the NFC North, right? When you have better coaching, you look better. So, of course, Fields is going to be 3-0. It's Mike Tomlin and his crew.
Yeah.
I don't expect anything less. But to answer the question, I say no. I think we would be even worse with Fields on the floor because it'd be Swift and Fields leading the rushing yards every single game, and I just don't want to see that. That's not what we need, especially with our offense and how terrible it is already. So.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I don't think we would be better with Justin Fields right now. I think that Justin Fields he always struggled reading the field.
Mm-hmm.
He always struggled making good, accurate decisions, getting the ball out quick. And I think, he would be running for his life at this point.
He would be.
He would, he'd be picking up first downs, and there'd be some highlight plays sprinkled in there. But overall, I don't think this Bears offense would function better as an NFL offense. Case in point, by the way, I mean, have you guys seen how good Darnell Mooney has been on the Falcons? He's been really good.
Yeah.
And he wasn't that good with the Bears, and I think that's a testament to kind of Justin Fields' inability to get him the ball. But no, I don't think the Bears would be better with Justin Fields. I think, quarterback record. If you want to talk about Fields' record on the Bears, I know he's 3-0 now, but his defense led up, I believe it was -3 yards in the second half to the Chargers without Justin Herbert. I mean, let's be real here. So, and credit to Justin Fields. I have no ill will towards him. He's played fine with the Steelers. I don't necessarily think that he's been playing out of his mind. I think he's been doing enough to win games with their defense. He's not been turning the ball over, which is good.
Yeah.
But like you said, good coaching will make you look a lot better. That is a department that the Bears currently lack in. And again, go to Sam Darnold. Look at what Sam Darnold's doing right now in Minnesota.
Yeah.
You guys, Sam Darnold was a joke for 5 years.
He was
a joke. And people thought he was going to be a joke this year with J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy tears his ACL. Sam Darnold, the starter for the full year. And he looks if the season ended today, Sam Darnold's the MVP of the league, which is unreal.
Insane. Yeah.
We're 3 weeks in. I understand that there's going to be an adjustment period. I get it. But Sam Darnold has looked phenomenal. So, no, I don't think Justin Fields would be better. I think that maybe it's a little smoke and mirrors right now of how good he looks.
For sure, yeah.
The fact that Caleb Williams in week 3 of his career had more passing yards in a single game than Fields ever had should tell you a little bit something about how much more advanced he is as a thrower of the football.
Yeah.
But you're right. Justin Fields, every once in a while will have a 50-yard run, and then everyone's back.
Yeah.
Everyone's back.
And
I listen, we were all victims of that on the
For
Bears.
sure.
He would struggle for 2 quarters, and then he would scramble out and score like a 40-yard touchdown, and we'd be like, "We're in.
Yeah.
He's the franchise."
Yep.
He's not. He wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Justin Fields is dead to you. It's like an ex-girlfriend that you want to break up with, but you just for some reason you just keep coming back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he does that to you. So
he does that to you.
Let's go ahead and jump into our preview for next week. Week 4, we are going to be taking on the Los Angeles Rams at home. The Rams stole a game from the San Francisco 49ers yesterday. That was quite impressive to watch. They were down 14 two separate times in the second half, one being in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They came back. Matthew Stafford and a bunch of Walmart employees were able to beat. I mean, I'm not lying. I'm not lying to you, Justin. Puka Nakua's hurt. Cooper Kupp's hurt. Aaron Donald's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. And, he was able to lead them to a win against the 49ers. They're 1-2. We're 1-2. They feel like a different type of 1-2, though. They feel like they're just so decimated by injuries. We feel like we're just dysfunctional on all levels. Talk to me, though. What are going to be the key matchups in this game for the Bears and the Rams?
Honestly, after you said Walmart employees, I'm almost like, who do I compare this? Who am I comparing?
Yeah.
From the Rams.
Roster-wise, I think we're better.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. without the deadly wide receiver duo of Nakua and Cooper Kupp. I mean, yeah, but I honestly the main key matchups are going to be obviously the quarterback, which is going to be Caleb versus Stafford.
Yeah.
I think that'll definitely be. I mean, obviously Stafford has the hardware and the experience, right? But I do think going in that Caleb does have the upper hand of having more offensive weapons on his side. It'll be more about how we use those offensive weapons to be able to win this game. And, obviously, looking at Matthew Stafford's last game against the 49ers, 16 of 25, 221 yards, one touchdown. I mean, QBR rating of 64.5, which is, not the greatest. But, I honestly, that's all I got. Because you're right. It is a bunch of Walmart employees against the Chicago Bears. In fact, I think that, I don't want to say I don't know. Like, I want to instill confidence in myself, right?
Yep.
But I don't want to clip myself again for the third time like I did last week.
Be bold. Be bold, man. Be bold. Say what you got to say. Get off your chest.
All right. Well, the Bears should win this game, okay? There should be – I know I'm kind of jumping the gun here.
No, go ahead. Jump the gun. Go ahead.
The Bears, obviously, if this was the Rams for week – no injuries, we have no shot. But I feel like at least weapon-wise, I feel like Jalen Johnson should guard Tutu Atwell, right?
Yeah.
You would hope, right?
You would hope.
You would hope, right? And I just think overall, like, the Rams are beatable. But once again, it's going to depend on what plays we actually call and how we actually use our offense in a great way.
Yeah. Be bold. Say what you're going to say.
Listen, man, the Bears are going to win this, and the Bears are going to win this. I'm going to go 30-15, and hopefully I don't make a mockery of myself by saying that, but we'll see. But enough blabbing about my inaccurate predictions. Mike, what do you have? What do you think that this game's going to look like?
I'm so sorry. I have to completely disagree with you.
That's fine.
No, and it's not you. I love you, Justin. I think the biggest matchup in this game is going to be coaching matchup.
Yeah.
I think Sean McVay is going to coach circles around Matt Eberflus and this defense. And listen, last week you saw Sean McVay flex his muscles against Kyle Shanahan, one of the best coaches in the NFL. I would say he's top three. Those guys are both top three, along with Andy Reid. Flexed his coaching muscle last week. And I think that that's the biggest mismatch for the Bears, because I think personnel-wise, the Bears are better at almost every single position other than quarterback and running back. Kyron Williams had a good day yesterday for the Rams. But wide receiver, the Bears currently are better. Offensive line, both teams kind of don't have good offensive line. They're both – the Rams are beat up, obviously, but the guys they currently have are not very good. Defensively, I think the Bears are talented more on the defensive line, linebackers, and DBs. So, again, personnel-wise, I think the Bears win in most of the categories. Problem is, Matthew Stafford's a great quarterback. Sean McVay is a fantastic head coach. I mean, I can't overstate how well he did yesterday to come back against the 49ers. It was truly tremendous. I think this Bears team is going to crumble against the Rams. I do believe that, because right now they don't have an identity. They are not a passing team. They're not a rushing team. They're just a team that is trying to figure out how the heck to get yards. And that's a really scary spot to be in. Also, I will note that Shane Waldron is a quote-unquote descendant of Sean McVay. He was the Rams passing game coordinator, I believe, for 2 seasons before he became Seattle's offensive coordinator. Obviously, then he jumped to Chicago to be our offensive coordinator. Shane Waldron runs the Sean McVay offense just way worse than Sean McVay does it. Like the same concepts and the same schemes, maybe even the same verbiage. If you don't think Sean McVay is going to have an answer to that and help his defense prepare for the Bears offense,
sure.
I think that you're being a little fictitious. This Rams team, I think they're going to be way better coached. I think that they're going to come out after having a massive win against San Francisco. The Bears are the complete opposite. They had a very disappointing loss to Indianapolis Colts. I think the Rams win this game, Justin. I'm going to say 28-17. I think the Rams put a good old spanking on the Bears on Sunday. And listen, the Bears have not given me a lot of reasons to be confident. I thought, I gave them the benefit of the doubt to a certain degree against Houston because Houston is a really, really good team. But after seeing Houston get spanked yesterday, seeing us falter to the Colts after Anthony Richardson had a bad day, it makes me very nervous for this team. I got to say the Rams win this game 28-17. I do not like the Bears' chances in this game. I think Sean McVay is a complete mismatch. And Matthew Stafford, for as old as he might be, he's still kicking it. And I also want to say one thing on Matthew Stafford. If anybody understands what Caleb Williams is currently going through, it would be Matthew Stafford because when Matthew Stafford was the first overall pick, he went to the 0-16 Lions the year prior, became the quarterback, and for several years he kind of just wasted away in Detroit. I mean, it was rough. I mean, yes, he did have Megatron, but his offensive line and his running game were horrible. I mean, I think they went like 7 or 8 years without having a 100-yard rusher in a game. It was disgusting. So Matthew Stafford gets it. Hopefully Caleb can turn out like Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is, I believe, a Hall of Famer.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But for me, it's not looking good against. I do appreciate your optimism.
No,
and I hope you're right. I hope I'm the one that looks like a dummy. I really do. But unfortunately, I don't see it. I think the Rams take care of business and they handle the Bears by 11 points.
No, and I think it. I think that's one thing that I honestly didn't think about. Right, Sean McVay is a coaching genius, right? So he will definitely. I guess that is one of the key matchups, right? He'll definitely come out and cook for sure. I have a bonus question for you, and just a real quick one before we end. Do you think, from looking at the first couple of games of the season, do you think we will make the playoffs?
No. Part of that is because we've looked very disappointing offensively, and part of that is because our division looks awesome.
Right.
Green Bay with Malik Willis looks awesome. Sam Darnold and the Lions Sam Darnold and the Vikings look awesome. Vikings defense, give them credit as well. Brian Flores has been putting these guys in the torture chamber so far this year. And then obviously the Lions, who were a few plays away from the Super Bowl last year, they look very good as well. I think when you're looking at it, we have the 4th best offense, we have the 4th best coach, and Caleb isn't good enough this season to overcompensate that. Again, you don't see many, if ever, a team be 4th in their division, make the playoffs. I'm a lot less confident about the Bears making the playoffs than I was, 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. In the first episode, I think I said 10-6. Yeah, we're not going to be 10-6 at all. And I agree with Mike. I think that overall, we have potential to be great, but we're just not there yet. I think it's going to take some coaching changes. I think it's going to take some offensive line changes for sure. But I agree with Mike. I think this is definitely going to be – we're going to have our ups and downs of what happens this season, right?
Yeah.
But I do think there are better days for the Chicago Bears.
On the bright side, we do have draft capital, though.
Yes,
we do have our first-round pick. We have Carolina's second, which is basically going to be a late first. I hate to say it. Unless they keep playing Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, dude. Put Bryce back in. Bryce back in.
Yeah.
Let him lose games. Secure the 1 seed, and then we can get your second. But I think that'll about wrap it up. A disappointing game, back-to-back weeks. But there is hope. There is hope to come. I think Caleb showed us a sign. He showed us some signs yesterday. So
no, he definitely did. And that wraps up our show for today. Please follow our socials. We thank each and every one of you for commenting, liking, subscribing, and sharing. Instagram, Bears Talk Today. YouTube, same thing, Bears Talk Today. Twitter, our X, whatever you want to call it, Bears_talk today, and our brand new TikTok account, which I just made yesterday, Bears Talk Today. We're more than happy to be able to have this discussion every single week, and we hopefully will not have such a dismal podcast talk like we did today, but
it's just depressing. I want to talk about a win.
Yeah,
I want to talk about a 30-point. We scored 30 points. Defense was good, and we won the game.
Listen.
Preferably against Green Bay too. Maybe that's too much to ask. Maybe we could do that against Green Bay.
Maybe. So Mike said that if Caleb gets 400 yards,
I said 4 touchdowns.
Like he should have.
No. I said the other day when we were eating lunch, I said if Caleb throws for 4 touchdowns in one game, I'll paint my nails live on stream and talk about the game. And you will not find a happier man on planet Earth painting his nails if I have to do it live while Caleb Williams is out there dicing up defenses. And if he does it against Green Bay, oh my gosh, I will be over the moon.
Yeah,
I'll keep him painted too.
Keep him painted. Okay.
Yeah, get orange and blue. What did he do week 1? He did go Bears.
Yeah.
I'll do go Bears. I have no problems with that.
Yeah. So you heard it here first. Caleb, please get 4 touchdowns,
please,
so I can watch this in real time.
Yeah.
But no, thank you guys so much for watching our show today. Like I said, please like and follow and subscribe for our socials, and we will see you here next week to talk about Bears versus Rams.